So, a very warm welcome, everyone, and thanks to Pratima for taking the lead to have this session today. And thank you, everyone, for being here and taking out the time for this discussion or reflection. So, before we begin, the theme today is why are we here? The purpose of human existence. Why are we here on earth at all? क्या करने के लिए आए हैं? So that's the theme, and we will have a dialogue, reflection, sharing, and in the light of Mother and Aurobindo and other masters who have shared with us. So before we start, let us take one moment to ourselves, just in gathering our mind, bringing the mind home in the body. So let us take up a few, maybe if you have any questions which are pressing, because we were thinking of what would be the theme or topic for discussion today. And first that came to us was, I think, relationships. But then we thought that before we jump on to relationships, let us know why are we here, human beings at all? What is the purpose? Because once that inner alignment is there, we know our purpose here, then we can even go into relationships and or workplace or wherever and have a right frame of mind. So to hit at the root, basically. So anything anyone wants to put forward for a collective reflection on this theme, why are we here? So any reflections before we begin? What is your present understanding on why human birth? And it could be anything. So we are going to begin from where we are. It's okay to have that understanding and it to expand the understanding with others, words by mother and Sri Aurobindo. So it's okay, perfectly fine. So anyone would like to share, what do we think at the moment? Why human birth? Why am I here? What do you think?
Monica, over the years, whatever I have read, and thanks to all the evolved masters and their teachings, I guess my answer would be that human birth is for self-realization, realizing the self that we are. But it sounds so theoretical and it sounds like borrowed gyan. So to get to the root of it, the essence of it, and to understand, I mean, like logically in every which way, I do realize that that is the truth. Our masters cannot be wrong. They have been there, they have done that, they have seen that. But I still feel that for me, I haven't really experienced it. So it's not a personal experience. Right now, it just feels it's the teachings. It's Gyan, which is not mine. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, yes. Vipin, you wanted to share?
Hello. Yeah. After reading so much of these books, like spiritual books and all, again, it's what she said right now. It's just a theory which I understand, but I don't know how to follow it and go through the process. But I believe the human birth as human only has the senses and the mind to actually think and to uh, think about what is right and what is wrong and choose the right path for themselves, right? So we only have this ability. So I think it's for us so that we can merge with the consciousness and actually freed ourselves from all the back deeds and patterns and everything, and just merge with the consciousness or merge with the guru or soul or the supreme one. But again, the path is very difficult to follow.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Pratima, you too wanted to share.
I think it's been shared. What I was actually thinking that this is more of a theoretical knowledge because we have read in books completely, and when we actually read, it looks very convincing, and then you have certain experiences to even um, uh, make it a fact also sometimes. Okay, yes, that is there. Something is there that we can actually look up to, and uh, which is of course better than the conditions that we are living in now. So, but yes, it is only theoretical. But until unless we run through it, we understand, and the knowingness is not there. It looks very. So I think that is the reason why we keep forgetting it, because it is not there all the time, and it is moment by moment. It skips sometimes, and we forget. That we are. We need to be little present in that situation, and it happens with me that I keep forgetting, and the situations happen, and then I have to recollect and go back and give it a try. So this happens.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yes. Would anyone else want to share on any present understanding on why we are here as human beings? Yes, Damin.
Yeah, hi, thank you.
Hi.
I don't know the answer, but something that just came to mind is I know that in my experience every day, I want to move towards feeling good and feeling happy, and I want to move away from pain and feeling terrible. Actually, right now I have kind of like a cold, so I feel a bit terrible, and I don't like the experience. So like at the moment, I guess the direction that I'm kind of thinking in is um, to become maybe at the moment the purpose of the human life is to move towards um, knowing how knowing how to develop I guess wisdom. Um, I don't know that the answer is that I have to always go towards happiness and move away from suffering, but there's some kind of feeling there, like that, some kind of experience. So, yeah, that's just what came up for me. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, yes. Anyone else? Anything to add on?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, Sham.
Yeah, something very akin to what the previous two people were sharing, that we need to constantly remind ourselves, otherwise we keep falling back to our old patterns because they are so ingrained in our mind that we can fall back anytime at any point of time. So with how you used to discuss earlier, that with each breath we need to remind ourselves and we need to be thankful that we had enough of all this and we need to call it quits. The sooner the better. But again, it can't come easy. We need to work towards it consistently.
Yes, yes. Everything requires effort. Yes. Any more reflections on why we are here as a human being? So I think all of you, I would resonate with each one who shared. And so that's how we are. That's how we are. So this prayer that was going on before you joined, Asato Ma Sadgamaya. From falsehood, Asat, take me towards Sat. That which is true, that which is existent, that which only exists. From tamas, tamasoma, which is this dullness, ignorance, darkness that we all feel, lack of wisdom. All of us have that. I don't know who I am. In theory, I know, but I don't really have any practical experience of who I am. I may think that I am divine, but my actions are not divine. My speech is not divine. So there is a discontent because of that. So as Vipin was sharing, that only human being has the capacity to think, and intellectual capacity is only with human beings. So there must be a purpose. Because I can think and intellectualize, which also has a purpose. I can also think that this way of living at the moment I am discontented with. There is something missing. So that something missing can happen only with the human beings. It cannot happen with animal existence. We all have been animals. We all have been plants. We all have been stones. So we have been journeying. There has been this journey of consciousness. And right now we are having a human birth where I can sense this discontent that something is missing. And that is the capacity only a human birth possesses. So that's why masters have said that it is good to long for divine, because only human beings can long for the divine. So just getting myself back to asato ma sadgamaya, from falsehood take me towards truth. Why? Because truth is my essential nature. From tamas, darkness, ignorance, take me to jyoti, more light, clarity in the mind, not haziness, not dullness, clarity, a vibrant mind who can just directly know, which can just directly know. So clarity in mind. From tamas and dullness, take me to clarity. And from mortality, mrityorma, from mortality, take me towards immortality. All of us want to extend our life. Damien was sharing that I'm having cold, and it's not a very nice feeling if you have cold. You don't want to be sick. None of us wants to be sick. Why? Have you ever questioned, why do I not want to be sick? Because sickness is not my essential nature. Sickness is there right now, and we will discuss why it is there. It has a purpose in evolution, but sickness is not who we truly are. Right now we have as if plunged into a deep darkness, and we are trying to figure our way out, and we are not content with the present state that we find ourselves in. Ill will in ourselves, all the ugliness, the weakness, the lack of power, the lack of clarity in mind. No one is happy with that. Why? Because that's not our true nature. So it's good to have discontent, because discontent will take me further. It will propel me, though no, I know that I see that I am in ignorance. I see lots of darkness and haziness in my mind, but something is missing. This is not my true nature. So you don't feel comfortable with that darkness. We feel comfortable with peace and clarity. Why? Because that is our true nature. So with Mother and Sri Aurobindo, it becomes a bit easier to understand, because Mother shares about the story of creation. And she shares that for us to, for simplifying for us children, she says that there was first initially only one supreme Brahman. There was only one, nothing apart from him existed, right? Then what he did, out of this delight of existence, he had a will, something stirred, and he manifested out of him a force which we call the Divine Mother. That Shakti came out of him. And he said, okay, you go out. When we talk about, Purusha, Prakriti. So this Prakriti is the force which goes out and creates the creation. So that Shakti manifested 4 powers out of itself. And these powers are Sat, Chit, Shakti, Ananda. Satchit Ananda, we say that our true nature is Satchit Ananda. What is Sat? Sat is that which truly is. Truth. When we say only divine exists, nothing else exists. So that is Sat. That which forever is eternal, that which cannot be destroyed. That is Sat. Chit is consciousness. The consciousness with which we see, with which we look at our thought. I know I am thinking this. I know I am feeling this. I know that person is looking at me like this. So this is the consciousness with which we know, the knowing in us. And with consciousness, Sri Aurobindo and Mother couple Chit Shakti. Because whenever we are stabilized in the stance of consciousness, we are powerful. We have Shakti, we have force. But in the manifestation, Chit and Shakti have separated. So that's why we feel so weak. We feel helpless. We may feel powerful at times, but very soon that power turns very limited, and again we are feeling powerless, helpless. Why? Because it has gotten dissociated. So Sat, Chit, Shakti, these are the powers which were manifested by the Divine Mother in order to create the creation. And Ananda, we all have heard the name Ananda, true joy, true bliss, that which is not dependent on any reason. So all these powers came out. And then Mother said, okay, you create the creation. Now what happens? Imagine that you have a child and you give 10 rupees to the child and you say, okay, go and get this stuff from the market. Now the child goes and he says, wow, I have the money now. I can do anything with this money. And the child goes berserk and he dissociates from what was the original intention of the parent. Why did he in the very first place send me to the market? He dissociates from that. So he loiters around those 10 rupees. He maybe buys a snack for himself, or I don't know, puts it in lottery or whatever, because now he's on his own. So this is what all these powers did. They disconnected from their source, parent source. So what happened? And many people must be wondering why this happened. Why did it disconnect? And Mother says that it was just one of the possibilities. Just one out of infinite possibilities, one possibility that it upturned. Okay, so we don't have to put our mind too much into it because that can boggle us up. So Sat became Asat, truth became falsehood. That's why we see the world around us, we see the world within me. It's falsehood, it's the ego consciousness that rules. Then consciousness became unconsciousness, forgetfulness. You were talking of forgetfulness, that why do we forget when the path is right there in front of me? We forget because we get unconscious. We are sleepwalking. Our patterns are ruling us. So that's because that's how the creation was created. Okay, and then Shakti became weakness, force became weakness. So that's why we feel this dullness and weakness in us, heaviness in us many times. No? And Ananda, bliss, true bliss, became suffering. And in order to go back to that Ananda, we have a glimpse of Ananda whenever we fulfill a little desire. Just a glimpse of it we get. Whenever we want something and get it, but then it completely goes away again. That's a different matter, but we get a limited glimpse of that joy. But we don't have true joy in our lives. We have fleeting joys. And that's why we are all seeking lasting joy, because that's our true nature. But slowly we come to a realization that cannot be gotten through outer means. We all have enough experiences to tell us. We have tried to fix relationships, doesn't work. We have tried to fix workplaces, have enough money, power, doesn't work. Something still keeps missing. So everything, enough shopping, enough, indulging in consumerism, still something keeps missing. So this is for us to know that true joy, Satchit Ananda that we are seeking, it is not to be found out there, somewhere else. So that's the basis of the story, that why we have a existence like this. Why am I so forgetful? Why am I so dark? Why am I so weak? Because the creation is like that. Now Mother says, just continuing on the story, she says, then the Divine Mother said that this is something really wrong that has happened. So I have to go down in the existence and save the existence. So along with the Divine Mother, many sparks of light jumped in the creation. And these are all of us sitting here today, or people out there. So sparks, these souls, they jumped in the creation and they said, we will bring the creation out of darkness to light. That's why we call the capacity of human spirit. You must have seen people who are physically so disabled, and yet they are running marathons. Stephen Hawking, we have the example of. So physically challenged, and look the work he has done. So that's human spirit which never gives up no matter how much darkness is there. Why? Because we all are that light that came from the original source in order to bring the existence out of the darkness in which the existence went. And that's why Kabirji would say each one of us is a surma, is a warrior. Because all of us have darkness, yes, we have darkness, but we also have the power to transmute into light. That light of consciousness, the force, the power is within us. So that's the basis of what we can start with. That this is how we are like this, but we don't have to remain like this. The purpose is to go on. Now, what is the purpose? This is the creation, but what is the purpose? Now, the purpose is also very clear in us. That when everything turned to its opposite, what is my task? To take it to its originality, purity. If I see impurity in me, what is my task? To purify myself. Simple. So my task is not here to get settled as a person, have a good family, 2 children, 2 relatives. That is a side product. We are not here to have settled families and good houses, good property. That's not the truth of our existence. We are here to have this journey from darkness to light, the journey from impurity to purity. And that's why we will have impurity. So don't get boggled up by when you see too much of impurity in you. Not to get frustrated because of that. Why? Because that's my task. I am a magician. We are all magicians. And magicians have impurity. So because they know they can turn it into purity. So this is the mother says that only the adventurous ones, she says, and I would maybe later share all these anecdotes with you by mother herself. She says that for the sake of adventure, you plunged into this darkness. For those of us who love trekking and expeditions, we will know that if we have a well-charted map, then it's no fun. Fun is when I don't know how to find my way through. And then you discover, like this, and like scavenging on some food and, like having these little adventures. So it's for the fun of adventure that we are here. And that the adventure of, mother talks about it, adventure of consciousness. So this, in short, just giving us a glimpse, this is why we are here. So I'll take a pause here and give you all a breather. And yeah, feel free to bring up anything that is coming up. Okay, so I'm assuming nothing at the moment. So now when we approach life with this attitude, it becomes a bit simpler for me. Now, why am I having a difficult relationship? Because there are learnings and lessons and I have to grow and evolve through that relationship. Why am I having difficulties in my workplace, getting a job? Why? Because I have to learn. I have to progress, and progress brings joy. And whenever there were people, when Aurobindo was being set up, somebody asked, because there were people from all kind of backgrounds, not only India. So some Russian, I guess, they asked that, Mother, we don't connect with the word divine. So mother said, okay, no problem. You connect with the word perfection. And he said, yes. So Perfection is the another name for divine. We all want to be perfect in our relationships. We all want to be perfect in our how we keep the place, at our home, the way we dress, the way inside is, the mental formations, feelings, the body. So this yearning for perfection is also there only in human beings. Yearning for perfection. And that's why it can also, this yearning for perfection can also be called as the yearning for the union with the divine. And we see right now, if we look at ourselves and our relationships, we will see everything is so imperfect. And there is discontent. People feel that no, this is not right. And then they take a stand, they become an activist, because they see no, this is unethical, this should not happen. So they take a stand because we all want a perfect world. But a perfect world cannot be had if I don't tune into my perfect consciousness. So that's why, along with an engagement with the world, I have to parallelly do the inner sadhana. And that sadhana is constant disidentification from thoughts, feelings, all that comes up, rises in the being, ego patterns, thinking patterns, feeling patterns, and a constant union with the divine within, the silence within. But we need both the movements. We don't only need the inner movement, we also need the expansive movement going out in the world. And some of you were sharing that purpose is to merge into the divine. Now that used to be the purpose in earlier yogas, that okay, what do? We have this spirit which is full of light entangled in this body which is so limited, and we don't want that. We want immortality. Spirit is immortal, but the body is mortal. What do? I feel caged. So what did they do? They merged the spirit back into the divine, and they got moksha or liberation or nirvana, right? But with Mother and Sri Aurobindo's yoga, that is not the end of life. Because then we leave the body as it is, dirty, filthy. We leave the world as it is, full of bad thoughts, bad feelings. So with Mother and Sri Aurobindo, this inner union, inner growing within, is the first step. What is the second step? The more I identify with the true consciousness, the one who is the witness in me, the one who is always a sakshi, a witness to everything, the more I stabilize myself as that, then what happens? I can have mastery over my being, over thoughts. I know which thought to take, which thought to reject. As a witness, I have that clarity. But when I am totally engaged in the thoughts, I don't have that clarity, right? But when I'm standing back from the thoughts, then I see, oh, this thought, not a good thought. Okay, remove it, reject it. Then feelings, bad moods. So whenever it enters our being, we are very conscious and alert, vigilant guard, sitting on the border of the territory. And whenever any disturbing emotion or feeling tries to strike us, we are very vigilant and we completely reject it. We don't want to engage in it. And this is what we call self-mastery. Mastery of thoughts, mastery of feelings, and slowly it gives the way to mastery of even body, where we are able to invoke divine presence and purity in each cell of the body. Then there is no need to fall sick. But right now, if somebody gives me physical immortality, like your body is never going to die, it would be a trouble. Why? Because the way I live is like a asuric way. It's a titanic way. My bad thoughts, ill will, hatred, blame, like this, if I become immortal, it will be a trouble for the world. You see, so that's why physical transformation, the body becoming divine and immortal, that is the last of our game. First is taking a step back, stabilizing myself more and more in witnessing consciousness. Who am I? I am this awareness which looks at the mood. I am not the mood. Who am I? I am this awareness which looks at the darkness which is coming, right? So again and again throughout the day, I stabilize myself in that witnessing stance so that I can have mastery over my thoughts, purity in my being and feelings. This is our purpose in human life. So more perfection within, and slowly that translates into more perfection outside of me. But since some of us were sharing that it's theoretical knowledge, but see what that theoretical understanding has brought you. It has brought us so far. It has created a pressure from above. Because if I don't read scriptures and I don't read good words, then how would that pressure be created? So that reading did serve a purpose, that it created a pressure from above, that no, this is such a dissatisfying life and I am not this, I am divine, but how do I know, so it has created this urge in me to get out of this ignorance means I am ignoring who I truly am. Whenever a thought or a feeling arises, in that instance I can either take a step back, know myself as the awareness looking as the thought and feeling, which we are hardly able to do, or we can totally get immersed in the thought and feeling and lose ourselves. That's what we mostly do. So now is my chance, after reading all this, after having this pressure created from above, that whenever a thought or a feeling arises, I take a step back, I look at myself. Who am I? I am this awareness which looks at the thought, looks at the feeling. Now I have a mastery in the sense that I know whether to admit it into my being or reject it from my being. So you are putting effort towards purity. And only when the inner temple is pure, we can have a divine presence installed, like in our Indian temples, we keep the temple clean. It's a metaphor. We have made into a ritual. It's a metaphor that just like there you have the temple, here you have the temple. So at the subtle level, clean your thoughts up, clean your feelings up, only then the divine can be invoked. Yeah, so I would invite more reflection and just not keep blabbering myself. I can do that for hours. That's my capacity. But yeah, please bring forward anything, any reflection, question, anything that you have.
I have one question. As previously you said, adventurous consciousness, right? When we don't have, mapped up everything and we, just follow the path as it comes. Uh, would it be like we should be having a unplanned journey towards the consciousness, but sometimes unplanned journey creates, maybe it produces some negative events for us, for people around us, or maybe the nature around us. So how to deal with that?
So when we said unplanned, we know that however much we plan in our life, things don't go according to our plan. We all have seen that. We may plan something else, but something else turns out and the game changes. So when I said adventure of consciousness, it does not mean unplanned future events. It meant that we are born in forgetfulness and we have to dig our own self out. So this is the adventure that right now we are having. That through the words of masters and mystics, we are trying to find out who am I, or through our own experiences. It's like a treasure hunt which is going on. So that's the adventure I was talking of. Kabir ji, in one of the couplets, he says, "Jin khoja tin paiya gehre pani pat, मैं बपुरा बूडंडरा रहा किनारे बैठ." So he says the one who wanted to find, he found in the depths of the being. And the others who always were afraid of finding, they kept sitting on the shore. So this is the adventure that I am talking of, plunging deep in our depths and getting out the hidden treasure, which is our true being and which is limitless. So that's why you would see that masters, they may have done tapasya and sadhana and yoga for, I know few who have done 12 years in cave. Yeah, living and doing their sadhana. When they come out the cave, they don't say that I am fixed and I am enlightened. They say that, oh my God, there's so much to still discover. Why would they say that? Because since we are all made in the image of divine, as the divine is infinite, so are we. So this plunge that we take in our being, it can take us deeper and deeper and deeper and higher and higher and higher, and there is no end to that limit. So that's the adventure. And then life events happening, I think there are people who are conscious enough who can actually foresee their events and plan also, but we are not there, so we would not go there. We'd stay right here we are, that we are wanting to discover who we truly are. That's the adventure. And when we get in touch with that consciousness, what happens that even the actions that we take, they are beneficial for myself and others and also the planet. That's the byproduct. In our ignorance, whatever actions we take out of our selfish demands, manipulation, expectations, sab kuch, accumulating for ourselves, in that we spoil the planet. But when we all are in touch, deeper and deeper touch with our true consciousness, it is impossible that we consciously harm the planet or other beings. So we develop that sensitivity. It's a byproduct. Yeah.
There is one more thing.
Yes, please, please, please.
Like in the last thing you said that we have one temple inside us, where divine should come. But I always feel it's my personal thing, which I always feel that when I'm going through with the journey of life, work, everything else, sometimes we have to deal with few elements or maybe few events which are not pleasant, or and then we have to take a decision according to that itself. So I totally believe that our Sadguru should stay within us. But
You're muted, Vipin.
I'm not able to make a space for the divine, because I'm involved in such things which are actually stopping Sadguru to like come within me, or maybe just make us heart. So how to deal with this mindset? Because I totally believe I'm the reason, or everything is the reason which is happening around us, or maybe it could be similar with multiple people as well. When we are facing everything in our life and we have to do something which is not good according to the books, but again, how to deal with that?
So what I understood, again rephrasing what you said, you're asking that on one hand I want to install the divine presence within,
Right.
but on the other hand I see myself engaged in such affairs which pull me away from the divine presence. Is that true? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So I think this is a dilemma which all of us face. We all have our selfish demands. The thing is that we think that after fulfilling those selfish demands, I would get something. And if I don't fulfill those demands, then I would lose something. So we are stuck in one of the 8 worldly concerns according to Buddhism. According to Buddhism, there are 8 worldly concerns in which we are stuck and become miserable. What are those 8? Running towards happiness, running away from suffering. Running towards gain, running away from loss. Running towards name, running away from insignificance. And running towards praise and running away from blame. And we can be dead sure that if my life has become miserable, I must be somewhere in between these 8 worldly concerns. There is no escape. The only escape, as Kabirji says, he talks about this metaphor of like a grinding mill, this manual grinding mill. In Hindi, we call it chakki. And so this grinding mill has two stones, like it moves like this. And there are two pieces of stones, like thick stones. And in the middle of those stones, the grains of wheat, they get ground. They like powdered. So he says that चलती चाकी देखकर दिया कबीरा रोए, दो पाटन के बीच में, these two stones of duality, these 8 worldly concerns, साबुत बचा ना कोई. So everybody will get grounded and powdered if you are in between these two stones of duality. The only grain that is left that is not powdered, he says, is the one which remains at the center anchored with the center pin which is there. Now, what is that center? That center is bringing the mind to the present moment. The moment I bring the mind to the present moment, be with my body and breath, there is no need of past and future stories to exist. Just for a moment, try this experiment, maybe close your eyes for a moment, all of us. Just fully be present in your body. Nothing doing, no memory of past, no memory of future. You are not who you think you are. Forget about everything. Bring the mind fully home. Feel the body fully. Feel the breath. You are here, alive, breathing. You are not in the hospital. You are functional. Your intellect is capable. How full of grace. How blessed. You can understand, you can laugh over things, you can go out when you want. Now suddenly the whole story of future past can disappear. So this is the anchor. This was just wanting to give you a taste. Now what happens the moment I come out of this meditative process? Immediately the mental constructions form itself again. And I am the same Monica, or I am the same Pratima. So immediately what happens that we get a glimpse of that presence awareness present in the here and now, and immediately because of this mental thing that we have, all the constructions reappear as if they arise from their ashes, and they make up themselves so real and call me for attention that, hey, but this task you have to do, oh, but this you have to do, but what about that person who told you 10 things in the past? So all that gets created, and our dilemma is that we take that as real and that I glimpsed for one moment as unreal. That's my dilemma. So mother says that as long as you take that as concrete reality, which you think, which you feel and all that, right? The stories in your head, you will have a miserable life, ordinary consciousness. You will have to make your concrete reality this presence that you felt in the body, in the here and now, where everything is simple and light. This has to become my reality. This is the most prior thing I have to give importance to, because when this is sorted, I can be of benefit to others. I can take right actions. So I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he said that although on one hand he wants spiritual life, on the other he sees that he's pulled into some other material things, wanting attention, maybe promotion, something else. And then he says that is one of the reasons I can't join these sessions at times, although I feel the need. Now I asked him that, now imagine that you are having an office chat, office conversation, important meeting is going on, and suddenly your child is an emergency situation. What will you do? Would you still keep sitting in the meeting saying that, oh my God, urgent, very important? No. So this tells me I say to myself that I give priority to my inner life, but my actions don't tell it. And when I will it, that's where the capacity of will comes. Ichha, ichha shakti, the power of will that we have. When I will a beautiful life for me, I can create it. So that guy will be able to get up when the child needs attention. Why? Because there is a will in him to save the child. There is hardly any will in us to save our own lives. Or even if there is a will in us to save our own lives, we all bang our head on the walls in the wrong directions. Getting an insurance will save my life, getting a job, getting married and settled will save my life. No. Has it saved so many lives? They're all married, having children, having jobs. Do you see them, in delight and bliss? That's not true. So we have to, first of all, generate this will inside us that I want now a life of purity and inner sorting within myself, inner purity, inner sorting. And if that is not the most important thing in my life, no one can compel me to work towards this. So I have to undergo more suffering. That's why the necessity of suffering. Because why suffering is there, it's not that a divine is creating suffering. No, it's just that things are not designed in that way, that material things will give me lasting joy and contentment. They will not. They will not. They are not designed in that way. Or if I have suffered enough, then taking lesson from my suffering, I can say, okay, enough. Now I'm going to find who I truly am, unite with this witnessing consciousness, know myself as that in my daily actions, and disengage from the surface thought and feelings, all the waves are going up and down, disengage, go back from that, and live a life through that stance of consciousness. That's a sankalp or a vow that I make for myself. But that vow cannot be taken if I don't want to have a purified life. So that's why will comes the first. Do I want a purified life? Yes. Okay, these are the steps which we can take. And if I don't want it right now, there is no hurry. Take your time. Go through all the experiences that you want to go through. Then come back. So in eternity, there are several lifetimes. So if I feel that no, that ambition first has to be fulfilled, then I can think of the spiritual life. Fulfill that ambition. Because the divine is working through all the means. There is nothing but the divine. So through that ambition also, I'm going to turn back to my own self. So there is a win-win situation. Yeah, anything more? Anyone?
I have a small query. Uh, as you mentioned, lack of clarity. So that happens, especially in some decision making. And sometimes, like for pleasure, you want to go out and hang out and probably go to malls and do a lot of shopping and some for a momentary happiness that. So sometimes you're totally stuck in home for about weeks and you feel like, nahi, abhi to we should go out and just, do some shopping. This will ease my mind and relax me completely. So, and then there comes the other picture. Yes, it is just momentary. Do you actually need to shop? I mean, is there a necessity or it is a necessity? And how do you cope up? And sometimes the decision making, I mean, it creates such a confusion that we don't know where to go. And again, it takes us back to two version of us. Which one is, so how do cope with such situation?
There is a story of in Ramayana where those of us who are versed with what happens in Ramayana. So Vibhishan from the camp of Ravan, he has joined Lord Rama. We all know that. And he is living with a lots of monkeys. Now monkeys mostly eat what they eat, these fruits and all that, like They are vegetarians mostly. So while Vibhishan, owing to the fact that he was coming from an asuric background, he was meat eating. So he would eat all kinds of rabbits, animals, and he'll kill because he was not able to give up that thing. So one day a monkey complained to Lord Rama, and he said that, see, you think that he is your sevak, but he's eating animals. So Lord Rama says, okay, don't worry, I will see to it. So then after some days, a monkey comes and he says, but now he's eating little animals, like maybe squirrel or like little animals. So Lord Rama says, okay, fine. And one day a monkey comes and he says, now he has switched completely to vegetarian diet. How did that happen? The monkeys were curious. So Lord Lama said that so this was a pattern in Vibhishan. This is like a very hard ingrained pattern because of my conditioning, either shopping or meat eating, or whatever, in this case, meat eating, Vibhishan's case. Now he was able to see, being Sattvic mostly, he was able to see that this is not healthy for me. This is not, it should not be done. I should not be killing animals and eating, but I can't help but do that because I'm so used to eating that. But every time he would kill an animal and eat, he would always remember Lord Rama. So he would say, Lord, see, where I am. You would do, you please help me in this situation. Every time he would kill, he would remember Lord Rama. And slowly, he was able to completely get rid of it. So the same pattern either can be lived unconsciously. We are shopping, and we have no clue what's happening. We are destroying the planet out of more consumerism. And the same thing, if it's truly, really, I feel that, no, I have to go today out, take the mother along, take Sai Baba along. Show each dress that you pick up, show it to Sai Baba. What do you think? So that's how we can, have this divine intimacy in our life. Slowly, whatever is unnecessary will be withering away, will go away, and whatever is necessary, that only will stay. So that's it. Just a second. Yeah, so that's the beginning, from where we can start. If we find ourselves in the middle of a pattern which we are not able to give up, and yet we want to give up, like Trishanku kind of condition, then always take the mother along, take Sai Baba along, and slowly things will go in the right direction. Yeah, anyone? Anything else?
Yes. Oh.
Yes,
So
please.
I have two questions. Thank you. So the first is just on that topic. Is it necessary, or maybe it seems desirable, to become vegetarian? So that's the first question.
Actually, it's not necessary. And Mother and Aurobindo also have talked about that. I think Mother used to, in her time in the ashram, she used to encourage people eating whatever food they are used to. So if they are used to eggs, they are eating eggs. In ashram, food was mainly vegetarian. Since in India we are mostly, not at large, but mostly vegetarian, and she would encourage many sadhaks that you are growing weak, why don't you eat some eggs, for example. So and people in Antarctica, or people in places where they need meat, the body requires meat. It's not necessary to give up meat, but I have heard, and I don't know the truth behind it, but there must be a truth, that when we eat meat, we are eating consciousness, animal consciousness. Now what we are trying to do is, we are trying to, from the animal man, we are trying to move towards the divine man. And if I eat that consciousness, it will impact me. So that's why people have suggested to move towards more sattvic diet, but I'm not sure about it, because I see that people who are even turn to completely sattvic vegetarian diets, they can have a very big spiritual ego. That look, what kind of food do I eat? So don't worry much about that. And even if you are a meat eater and you need, the necessity of meat for your body, keep the divine with you, keep the higher with you, that I'm sitting and eating with you, and slowly we are guided in the way which is true for us. Each one has its own unfolding. There is no one formula, so don't worry much about it. And people, Tibetan monks in Tibet, it's very common to eat meat while they are monks and following all rituals of Buddhism and all that. So again, there are no shades of black and white, there are shades of gray, and it also very much depends upon the consciousness with which I eat, whether I keep the divine always with me, so that the divine can lead my life and take it into the right direction. Yeah.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
And yeah, you answered my second question already
Yes.
in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so anything else, anyone? We have understood the human purpose of human life. All is sorted. Yeah, but we need reminders, we all need reminders, and I'm glad that we could have this reminder today. And then it becomes, then mother says, then we can have the right attitude in life. That whatever challenge comes, difficulty comes, okay, what is the purpose? The purpose of human life is to constantly grow towards a union with the divine. Now, in front of that, each happening is secondary. Whether I am divorcing, whether my relationship is breaking, I'm getting a job, not getting a job, everything else is secondary. What matters is, am I growing through those experiences more and more in union with myself? So just completely disregard everything else. Everything else is secondary. 90% marks in examination, 0 marks in examination, nothing matters. What matters is my increasing union with the divine consciousness within. And mother says that the only true failure, she says, is not to know your soul consciousness within this birth. There is no other failure. If your business fails, children don't get good marks, they don't get you good university, that is not a failure. The failure is, I was not able to get in touch with my divine while a whole life passed by. And that's why Kabir, mystics like Kabir, they ask us to wake up, what are you doing? Wake up. This is the wake up that they want us to heed to, pay heed to. So this very simple thing that we can begin with, and if we are connected with any form of divine, name of divine, maybe divine mother, Sai Baba, higher force, in every action of our life, keep that divine as a company. So there was one story that I want to share, and then we can maybe have reflections and end. There was a person, true story, a German girl who was asking Dr. Anand Reddy from Pondicherry. He gave a talk once in Germany, and that girl asked that, I don't feel a connection with the mother, but I want to. What do I do? So he suggested that whatever you do in the day-to-day life, just like you tell your mother, I'm going to school, mother, I'm hungry. Instead of that, along with that, you tell the divine mother, I'm hungry. Mother, I'm going shopping. Mother, I'm eating. Mother, I'm going for a movie. Nothing has to be hidden from the mother. So after some years, when she connected back again with Dr. Anand Reddy, she shared that I don't know what this does to me, but I have such a sweetness and joy now in life, which was not present earlier, by having this divine as a companion in whatever I do. Like you're having an anxiety or a worry. Tell it, mother, look, this is coming up again. You don't get too much into it. You offer it to the mother. Once we have offered it to the mother, my task is done. Mother, this tendency is coming back again. Just, can you please take care of it? Now you don't engage with that tendency. Our problem is that we give it to the mother, but then we keep engaging, putting our leg in. Ki kuch milega, we'll get something out of there. So all that we want is that this divine sweetness within, in which we want to live, instead of running the monkey mind all over the place, which we do this sadhana. That's why this is sadhana. We are sadhing the mind, we are bringing the threads of consciousness together, either with the divine name or with the breath. We are bringing the mind home in the body. Now, out of that stance that we take, whatever action, speech, word is taken out, given out, it will be a right action. And if it's not the right action, then your consciousness will tell you that no, this was not a right action. Yeah, so anything that I'm missing, anyone? I'm sure I'm missing a lot of things, but so there is one very nice talk by Rupert Spira, where he shares that as if we are a case of mistaken identity. So imagine an actor, he goes out and plays a role. And when he plays a role, he gets so lost in the role or the script that when he comes back, he forgets to remove his clothes, and the whole story of the role is on his mind. And he's really bothered by that story. He's saying that, oh my God, what will happen to my child? Because that's what is happening in the story that he's playing. So a friend comes to his place and he asks, why are you so bothered? And he says, what do I do? Look at my daughter, she's not listening to me and all that. He's telling all the story of the script that he played. But then that friend tells him that, but that was just the role you played. You are not that role. You are the actor who plays that role. And then the friend slowly helps the actor friend to realize that he is the actor and not the script that he plays. Then there is a big burden off that actor's shoulder, and he says, oh my God, what a relief. So we are all consciousness. It is not just theory. We are consciousness because our journey goes on even when the body is dead. But the case of mistaken identity is that we think we are the roles that we play. And when we gather more and more stability in knowing ourselves as this consciousness, which never dies, is never born, then even the life that I live, it can be slowly a perfect life. Purity in thought, purity in feelings, because then I would not act from my selfish agendas, no? Because the selfish agendas were in the role, in the script. Now I know that I'm not that role. And even if some manipulation is required, just like Sri Krishna did manipulate Mahabharata. Why? Because for the sake of dharma. So even if I am doing a manipulation, that is not for my own sake, that is for the establishment of truth. So as they say, everything is allowed in love and war. So in truth also, there is no formula. There is no, so-called ethics according to what human mind can think. And that's why if we look at Mahabharata, we will see that Sri Krishna many a times played very unethical. He manipulated a lot. But how is that possible? That is possible because he is the divine consciousness. He knows what he is doing. He's not letting anti-divine forces win over the divine. But for first I have to again and again remind myself of that consciousness that I am. That's the actor, and all the roles that I play, they are secondary, they are not primary. But we need to exert. The more I gain stance within, the more my tapasya intensifies, the more I am able to play even the roles nicely. Not nicely according to what people may think, but nicely in order to, what benefits them and myself. Yeah, so any last comments, anyone, any reflections?
Yeah. Well, I'm able to be with my breath for maybe 5, 10, or 15 minutes, but then something crops up and that vigilant is gone. That element of vigilant is gone. So how can I prolong it to further?
Um, this bringing, why are we using breath as a thread?
Mhm.
First of all, we can use anything. You can also be with some body sensations, maybe some rising and falling of the tummy. We can bring the mind. Why do we do that? We do that because the true home of the mind is body. Usually the mind is not home. It is lost in the forest of thought. It gets wounded, it bleeds there, gets really hurt, and then we decide, okay, time to come back home. So now we have suffered enough. We are trying to bring our mind back to home, and not in our mental constructions, the images that we have in the head. So breath is the thread with which we can come back to the body. Now, the most important thing, whether it's breath up and down of the belly or a divine name, is the awareness which looks at the breath. So when we stabilize ourselves more with the breath, and we will only be able to do that when we are convinced that there is nothing I can get in thoughts. So Sham, to answer your question, when will you able be to be prolonged, to have a prolonged sitting with mind focused on breath, in gathering of the mind? When you are fully convinced that there is nothing I'm going to get in thought and feelings. They always sway me away. If that conviction is not there, you will get pulled again and again, and it's okay, we do get pulled. But whenever we do get pulled, bring the mind home again, bring it to the breath. So don't bother about it that much. The mind will go away. Why? Because it is used, it is habituated to go away again and again, like a small puppy. Jack Cornfield, the Buddhist teacher, he uses this example of a small puppy, mind as a small puppy. He says, bring the puppy back. Simple. When we have a small puppy at home, he goes out and eats the, all that is there. He's having this irritation in his teeth when they are growing. So he goes and grabs a shoe and bites on the shoe, and then you call him back. Then he goes again, bites on the door, you call him back. So the mind is like that. It is habituated to run in every direction, just out of old habit. Now, what am I doing? I'm cultivating a new habit of in gathered state. Why? Because I know it's helpful for me. So when I know this is helpful for me, I want to do it, then you will be able to do it. But if some part of you thinks that you are going to get something out of getting lost in thoughts and feelings, then you will get lost, and it's okay to get lost. Come back again to the breath. And for some time we stay focused on the breath, and then we take stance as awareness, which is aware of all the happenings. So I am that awareness. We stabilize ourselves as that awareness. So without judging, just bring the puppy back.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, happenings like writing something or moving of hand and wrist and something like that you were talking about.
Happening could be anything. You may be hearing voices,
Yeah.
noises. Maybe a vehicle is going on, pump some pam 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 something. So
Okay.
in the vast expanse of awareness that
Mm-hmm.
you are seeing everything coming and going, everything coming and going. Okay, breath is there, bodily feelings is there. Okay, this thought is coming, that thought. So you are taking stance as awareness. And in that vast expanse of awareness, all can come and go and come and go. You are not sticking to anything. You're not hopping onto anything. That if a thought comes, oh, how juicy, and you got, on the thought and got lost the track of breath. That happens.
Yeah.
But when we, sorry.
I'm, I'm not riding on the wave, but I'm able to see the crest and trough part of it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So you are sitting a little away from all the
Happenings.
waves, yeah, happenings. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So are we done? Anyone, anything else? Okay, so I think we'll maybe hopefully continue with these sessions every Saturday, and maybe take up every time we can take a different theme. Just like today, it was why we are here. What is the purpose? And then next time we can take something else. We can decide. And feel free to join in anytime you feel. Yes, Pratima, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for this. Thank you for today, and thank you for all what you have said. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pratima, for taking the lead in having these sessions. And thank you, everyone. I think it's thank you. Thank you for
Thank you so
giving time on
much.
Saturday and joining. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Sulakshana ji.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I just ran back from the dentist. I wanted to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you could join. Yeah, thank you.
Thank
So,
you so much.
Damin is asking for a link that I shared in the beginning. Yes, I can send you that link. Yeah, okay. Okay, so just wait a second. I'll send it right away. Wait. And also, you can suggest anyone who is interested, they can suggest themes for the next few sessions, and we can see if we want to take up that theme. We can decide.
I think the theme you were planning to take, relationships, would really, really make a difference. I think everybody goes through that.
Yes.
Agree. Agree. Absolutely.
Yes. 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 So we can take up, I think, when we talk about relationships, the element of love would come there, because that's what we assume from relationships. So we have enough guidance from Mother Aurobindo and other teachers on how human love can be a stepping stone towards a purer form of love. Because right now it is a mixture of demands, expectations, emotions, and a drop of pure love. So, how to sort this mixture and refine it and take it towards perfection? So, that would be a good topic. So I have shared the link of that prayer, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, in the link window, chat window. So you can have it there. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining and
Thank
listening
you.
and
Thank you.
being here. Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.